Hey, what's going on? And welcome to the Intellectual Jackass podcast for NFL Week 3 of the season. I am your host, your humble host, the diligent, vigilant, meticulous, sagacious, conscientious, analytical, methodical individual, the Chiseled Adonis. I'm here again for another NFL podcast. I must apologize for my relocation. Usually I'm downstairs recording it, but I have people in the house for some apparent reason. They decided to show up now. It's Wednesday night. I don't feel like recording this tomorrow. I have a busy day, so I'm recording it now. So let's jump right into the scores. Oh, but before I do that, this whole protest that's going on, I'm getting tired of politics and football being intertwined together. I just want to watch the damn game, get politics out of football. Everybody who can agree, we agree. If not, hey, we could always disagree. It's America, ain't it? So let's jump right into the games. First, Thursday Night Football. Oh, and before I get into Thursday Night Football, the football commentary I've been doing is doing wonderful. So thank you guys who actually watch it and share it. So far, in total, my football videos have amassed over 3 million views. So far, I think the one stiff arm got 2.5 itself. But whatever it might have been, actually, no, because I have the Madden thing that went over 1 million as well. So yeah, it's doing pretty good. We are probably let's look at 4 million. So far the Thursday Night Football game between the Rams and 49ers, that one's at like 130K so far. So it's doing pretty good. All right. So keep watching those videos, keep sharing it. I appreciate all the support. Now, moving right into the games. Thursday Night Football, we had the 49ers take on the Rams in a game that was actually way more interesting than I assumed, where the Rams beat the 49ers 41-39. Pierre Garçon went off, proving that he can play as a number one receiver in this league. Then again, he did lead the league in receptions, I think in 2014, maybe. I think it was 2014, maybe 2013, whatever it might have been. But he was balling. Todd Gurley showed up, had a couple of runs, got into the end zone, so that was a good game. I thoroughly enjoyed it, although I'm more of a defensive sort of game. I'm more of a defensive football sort of fan, but nonetheless, high-scoring game. It's somewhat exciting. Everybody enjoyed it except the 49ers because they lost. Jared Goff looked very nice. Maybe he's coming along. Maybe it was Jeff Fisher who held him back. Maybe he's not the bust that everybody said he was going to be. So I'm really excited for this Rams defense. And Aaron Donald, that's a grown man right there. That dude is phenomenal. If he could come over to Pittsburgh, that'd be very nice. But yeah, I like this Rams defense, defensive line at that. The cornerbacks and stuff, you don't just give up 39 points, and I'm supposed to give you kudos. But that defensive line is looking something serious. The Redskins, that's Sunday Night Football. The Ravens got absolutely decimated by the Jaguars. I don't know what happened in London. I don't know if the Ravens stayed in the locker room and their spirits or whatever the hell came out on the field, because that was ridiculous. They got walloped 44-7. Blake Bortles was throwing the ball all over the field. He had 5 incompletions. Leonard Fournette was running up and down the field. The defensive line of the Jaguars, Calais Campbell was in the backfield every single play. Jalen Ramsey caught himself a pick. The other cornerback, I think he broke up a couple of passes. They picked off another pass. I think a linebacker caught a pick. I don't know what was going on in that game, man. The Jaguars showed up. See, this is the Jaguars team I expected to show up this season. Not destroy teams the way they destroyed the Ravens, but on paper, they have a lot of talent. If they could put this together, they could really make a push in this AFC South. I'm looking forward to that. As for the Ravens, yet another player got hurt. 3 players got hurt. I'm not sure the severity of all those injuries because they already have, 15 players on IR already, 63 over the last 3 years. It's ridiculous what's going on over there. The injury bug infiltrated their entire organization. Joe Flacco has something wrong with his back that he can't reveal. Or I'm not sure if he can articulate what's wrong, because for some apparent reason, every single time he got hit, he was getting up, holding his back. I think he might have lumbar lordosis, lumbar stenosis, scoliosis, and kyphosis. His cells in his back might be left with necrosis. It's really bad. He needs to make sure he gets that checked out, because if Ryan Mallett has to come and relieve the duties, all the playoff hopes that the Ravens fans out there have might just go through, into the shitter. The Browns played the Colts in a game that I'm not too sure too many people watched. T.Y. Hilton showed up. It seems he's decided to clock in this season and finally play a damn game, although you didn't really have a quarterback to throw to you. If Scott Tolzien's throwing the ball, I don't really expect that to work. But Jacoby Brissett, he got the ball to T.Y. Hilton. T.Y. Hilton had over 120 yards, over 140 maybe. I think he had 7 catches, something like that. He got himself into the end zone. Jacoby Brissett ran it in a couple of times. The Browns looked all right. They're just missing something to close out games. They've been close in I think with the exception of last week, they've been close in every single game. When they played the Ravens, they weren't that close, but they were close with the Steelers. Actually, no, they only lost by a touchdown against the Ravens, I believe. Yeah, so the Browns, they just need to be able to finish games. They got to put some clutch in their car. Stop driving automatic, start driving some stick shift, get the clutch in your car, and finish games. And the Colts, they won the game 31-28. The Eagles played the Giants. I am so happy the Giants lost once again. This soothes my soul. I can walk around New York and smile because even though the Steelers lost, the Giants lost too, and everybody's in agony. I can take at least some solace knowing that there's 6 Lombardis somewhere inside of Heinz Field. But with the Eagles, I like the way that they played Carson Wentz. I like the way that they got those guys played. What I didn't like is that the fact that they allowed the Giants to score 24 points in the fourth quarter. You have got to be kidding me. You do not give up 24 points in the fourth quarter and walk out with a win. That almost does not happen. Okay, as for Odell, phenomenal. In all honesty, he's probably the most talented receiver in the league. Just given the way that he plays the game and his natural ability, he's easily the best receiver in the league. If you take just, the physical God-given talent. But work ethic, that's to Antonia Brown. Stop playing games. Body size or body type, that's Julio Jones. But just sheer, football talent, that's Odell Beckham. But this guy mentally is just not there. Why would you do a dog sort of imitation as a celebration and now you cost your team 15 yards on the kickoff? I don't understand, especially in a situation where it's your first touchdown, your team just got on the board, you just scored 7 points. Why are you celebrating like this? I don't know. Something's wrong with his cerebellum. Something back there. He needs to get that together. Eli Manning, outside of Odell Beckham and that one big-ass play that they had to Sterling Shepard, what other offense did they have? Their running game is absolutely atrocious. Everybody watching this, you can go into the backfield at the Giants and start at running back tomorrow. Take your mother or your father. Hell, get your grandparents. Adolf Hitler with the damn mustache out of the goddamn, he could take him out of the cemetery, wherever the hell he was buried, put his body, just the skeleton, in the backfield, and he can run for 5 yards. Like, you've got to be kidding me. They have absolutely no offensive outside of throwing the ball to Odell Beckham. They cannot generate any sort of offense. It's ridiculous. And their defense is not looking the way that it should have been looking. $200 million defense? For what? You need to show up. Come on, stop playing games. The Dolphins lost to the Jets, absolutely destroyed by the Jets, I might add. Jay Cutler looked like Jay Cutler. Okay, the Jets came out and they just kicked their ass. I can't remember how much yards Matt Forte had on the ground, but there was one cornerback for the Jets. He caught 2 interceptions, so good for them. But outside of that, Jay Cutler did not play, well, and I can't really sing any high praises for the Jets because they're still the Jets, and, they're fighting for that number 1 pick. The Bills beat the Broncos at home. Now, they weren't in Denver. They were in Buffalo, where LaShawn McCoy decided, hey, let me stretch during the national anthem. But I'm not talking about that today. But overall, the Bills, they did look solid. They were able to move the ball down the field. The Broncos, Trevor Siemian was under duress all day. This is a dude who threw back-to-back games. I think he threw 4 touchdowns, back-to-back games. I know he threw 4 touchdowns last week. I don't know what happened this week. C.J. Anderson didn't really do anything like that. Emmanuel Sanders got his hand on the ball a couple of times, but outside of that, they just got to get separation. This Bills defense looked like they can really play games. They really look like the Bills defense we were expecting them to look like. They're 2-1. I'm expecting them to continue to replicate this same success, especially when they play the Patriots. I'm tired of the Bills getting absolutely destroyed by the Patriots. Get it together. The Saints, speaking about getting destroyed by the Patriots, the Saints played against the Panthers this week, and the Saints destroyed the Panthers. I'm not sure what's going on with this Panthers offense. They cannot generate offense the way that we expected them to. Something is going on with Cam Newton. He thinks, oh, let me just lower the shoulder, because I'm telling you right now, if he continues to do that, he's going to end up waking up with CTE. It's not what you want. Stop doing that. Stay in the pocket, throw the ball. Don't be the scrambling QB like Cordell Stewart. Be a QB who can stand in the pocket with the ability to scramble. Do that. Okay, Mike Vick adopted that later in his career. Okay, Warren Moon didn't really run like that. Randall Cunningham kind of did it towards the end of it. Oh, perfect. Dante Culpepper. He was perfect like that. Okay, he was always in the pocket, but when he had to go out, he went out. It's the best way to play quarterback position. Stop trying to look to run first, Cam. Stop doing that. I think something happened to Kelvin Benjamin, too. I think he got hurt. Something happened to him. And Christian McCaffrey, they got to continue to try to get him the ball. And they got a second round pick that they got, Curtis Samuel. He's actually from Brooklyn, too. So he should start, stepping up because he was a big time player at Ohio State, and he's done diddly poo, as Jim Moore would say, in the NFL. So he's got to get it done. So far it's only been 3 weeks, so I'm not going to completely chastise him. Come on, man, you got to show up, help your team out. The Steelers lost to the damn Bears in a game that I'm still not understanding, but let me say this about Pittsburgh, okay? I gave it a lot of thought. Do I think Tomlin should be fired? No, it's not really a good idea. Fire that dude. Somebody just has to set him straight and like, hey, we can't continue to come into these games and play down. But for some apparent reason, it's not only the coaches, it's the players too. Because we could say a whole lot of things versus like how they got out coached, which I believe they did, but the players didn't even try to perform either. Think about it like this. If I come in with a terrible game plan and I have you in bad gaps and the running back runs through, the people who actually have an opportunity to tackle him, you've got to still make that tackle. They're doing arm tackles. They're missing tackles all over the field. They're missing coverages, all this other stuff. Well, at least not against Chicago, because Chicago only threw for 83 yards through the air. But you've got to be kidding me. I mean, Chicago's only rush, their only attack offensively is to run the ball. And there was minimal plays where we stacked the box. I didn't understand how Jordan Howard had all these lanes. Tariq Cohen had all these lanes. They were going to run the ball first, second, and third down, but for some apparent reason, we could not stop it. Offensively, they come in with a heavy pass rush. The pass rush isn't that great, but their run defense is phenomenal. So what I'm not understanding is why we didn't throw screen. Because against Minnesota, we threw a hell ton of screens. So I'm not understanding what the game plan was here, okay? So Keith Butler, you got to get it together. Todd Haley, you got to get it together. Mike Tomlin, you need to get your core guys and get them going. And Big Ben has been playing terrible this season. Okay, he was 71% on the deep ball last year. This man is only, 2 for 14 this year? There was one clear pass to Martavis Bryant that would have easily been a touchdown, but Big Ben overthrew him. You've got to be kidding me. You got to make that pass. The only offensive player who's shown up this year is Antonia Brown. The offensive line isn't even playing that great. Mike Pouncey was my best center in the league. I'm not sure what's going on. He's missed a couple of blocks this season. I don't know what's going on. Hopefully Ramon Foster, the injury's not too serious. But we got to stay healthy, man. Got to play better. But kudos to the Bears. They came out. They played wonderful. So they got that W. The Falcons playing against the Lions. I actually watched this game, and I am thoroughly upset with the refs. I am thoroughly upset with the refs. You got to be kidding me. On the ending play, the pass to Golden Tate, where he went across the middle and got into the end zone, they said he was down before he crossed the pylon. You've got to be kidding me. What is this? What the hell was that? And then I'm not sure if the refs came out and said, oh, they apologized, but you can't take that W away from the Falcons and give it to the Lions. The Lions earned that. Matthew Stafford is easily missed the fourth quarter, and he took his team down the field, and you just said, yep, we're just going to take those points away. And let me explain something to you about Atlanta. I like Atlanta on paper. I'm a fan of the players that they have. I like Matt Ryan. I love Julio Jones. I like the way Devontae Freeman runs the ball. I like defensively. I like Trufant. I like Beasley, who actually got hurt, I believe, on Sunday Night Football. So his severity of his injury, I think he's going to be out for a couple of weeks. But I like the Falcons, but let's just be honest. Outside of their win over Green Bay in Week 2, against the Bears, they should have lost that game. Against the Lions, they should have lost this game. They should be 1-2. They're not, because you can't eliminate. A win is a win. But if you're that organization, if you're a fan of that organization, you should be wiping your forehead like, phew, we escaped one against Chicago because there was 3 straight drop passes that should have been easily touchdowns, and they win the game off an extra point. And against Detroit, the refs screwed Detroit. And might I add, the 10-second runoff at the end of it, how? Because you had to go and review a play? You willingly went to go review that has nothing to do with the play. That's unfortunate. That's not fair. If anything, let them line up, and then when they take the snap, then you can start the clock from there. But to end it on that, you've got to be kidding me. Moving on to Tampa Bay versus Minnesota. Minnesota came out and they played. All right, Minnesota came out and they played. Case Keenum got the ball to Stephon Diggs and Adam Thielen. In fact, if you look at the wide receiver rankings in yards, Antonia Brown is number 1. Adam Thielen and Stephon Diggs is number 2 and 3. Okay, that passing attack is something serious. They've got a number 1 receiver, they got a number 2 receiver, and their number 2 receiver could be a number 1 receiver anywhere else in the NFL. They're able to get the ball out there. And might I add, Dalvin Cook is number 3 in rushing yards in the league. No, he's number 2 in rushing yards in the league. So they've got one hell of a offensive attack. Once Bradford comes back from injury, who you guys better watch out, man. You guys better watch out. And defensively, Xavier Rhodes is easily looking like possible candidate for the defensive player of the year because he's been shutting down receivers all season long. It's only 3 weeks, but nonetheless, he's been shutting them down. As for Tampa Bay, I was very disappointed with the way that they played offense this game. Still waiting for Doug Martin to come back from that suspension. Mike Evans, he didn't really, play big this game. Deshaun Jackson, you really need to show your worth, man. I mean, he had one deep ball this game, too. I believe he had a deep ball as well. But, Jameis Winston got to rally the troops, and they just got to play better, man. But Minnesota, they look good. The surprising big-time game, the Patriots and the Texans. I was not expecting the Texans to come out and play like that, man. Especially not having Cushing, not having Will Fork. I wasn't expecting that defense to play the way that they did, but they did. They showed up. But in the fourth quarter, they ran out of steam, and Tom Brady had to be Tom Brady. And Brandon Cooks, I don't know how he got his feet down for that last touchdown, but that was a phenomenal game. And did you see the play that Deshaun Watson made in the third quarter where he evaded all of those defenders and got the ball down the field to Deontay Foreman? That was ridiculous. That was a ridiculous play. Like, he shows he can play big time on the big time stage because, mind you, his only real offensive target is Hopkins. I mean, all the other Houston receivers are, Lamar Miller's okay out of the backfield, but he's inconsistent. So if Deshaun Watson can rally the troops the way that he did that game, you shouldn't take any. You can't hang your head after that game, man. You got to hold your head high because, that offense came out and they played. The defense did what they had to do. It came down to one play, and, Brady got him. But, Houston, they got an upside, man. I'm telling you, this AFC South, it's going to be a battle, man. It's going to be a battle. And speaking about the AFC South, the Tennessee Titans beat the Seattle Seahawks 33-22. Marcus Mariota looked very good. Richard Sherman in the defense, not too much. Okay, because they were able to play, a very good fourth quarter, but at that point they were down big time. So, they had to. I guess Tennessee was trying to run the clock out, and DeMarco Murray did well on the ground. That Seahawks defense is not the same as it used to be. I'm telling you can run the ball against this defense. Their strong suit is against the pass, but if you're able to run and you run those play action fakes, they're going to be very susceptible to leaving that receiver open, and they'll get the ball. If you're a quarterback, you can get the ball to your receiver. And, Tennessee, they got it done. I think Mariota threw for, 2 touchdowns, something like that. And, Seattle, offensively, they have no identity. They can't run the ball. Passing the ball is here and there. They don't really have that much of an identity. Russell Wilson's not playing good this season. They're 1-2. Now, mind you, they have went 1-2 before and then got it to turn around. But I'm not sure about this season. But luckily, they're in that AFC. They're in the NFC West that is always up for grabs. I mean, you have Los Angeles, who's playing well right now. But who knows how long that'll last. The 49ers, 0-3. They can't really close out games. Arizona, who just lost on Monday Night Football, I'll get to that. So, yeah, this NFC West, it's always up for a toss-up. So, if you're a Seattle fan, you shouldn't, worry too much because ultimately you can still get to the playoffs in that division. Sunday Night Football, we had, no, not Sunday night. Right before I got to Sunday night, we had Packers taking on the Chiefs. Packers won in overtime. Ironically, this was the first ever overtime win for Aaron Rodgers. I am shocked. After his career, he's been quarterback for 11 years now. How the hell hasn't, 10 years now. How the hell hasn't he, led an overtime comeback, especially with the greatness of this dude, but evidently he hasn't. And, against Cincinnati played probably the best game they could have. That first half was phenomenal. They put up 21 points. They held the Packers to 7. And then in the second half, Cincinnati couldn't do anything offensively. Tell you the truth, all they needed was 1 or maybe 2 more scores, and that game is over. But they couldn't move the ball. They didn't try to run the ball. A.J. Green was there in the first half. He was not there in the second half. They have got to try to find themselves an offense. Marvin Lewis pretty much kind of saved his job with that performance by his team because if they got destroyed, I think he would have got fired. But All in all, the Packers, good win. Ty Montgomery is proving his worth on the ground. He looks like he can be a legitimate running back in this league. Moving on to Kansas City versus the Chargers. The Chargers did a whole lot of nothing. Kansas City is looking for real. Now, for me personally, I look at Kansas City like this. They're a big play sort of team. Outside of that, they don't really have any offense. They're not one of those teams that will walk you down the field. They're one of the teams where I'll get a 2-yard gain here, 7-yard gain, 1-yard gain, 63-yard touchdown. That's how they operate. They're a big play sort of team. Kareem Hunt has first 3 games, he's had a 50-plus yard touchdown every single game. This kid just cannot be stopped for some apparent reason. Tyreek Hill, he had himself a deep touch. I think it was like 38-yard touchdown. Alex Smith is the most efficient quarterback so far this season, and he's been one of the most efficient quarterbacks in NFL history. And the Chiefs defense, I can't discredit their defense. They are there. They have themselves a pass rush. Justin Houston is serious, and he's still able to play football, although he has had the injury bug. So if you're playing against the Chiefs, you might want to watch out for that. As for the Chargers, come on, man. Seriously. Come on, man. You guys got talent. You got to be able to play better than that. You just can't. Like, the Chiefs have won 12 straight games in their division. It's ridiculous. It reminds me of when New England in the AFC East, and back when Peyton Manning was with the Colts, and when they played, in the AFC South, or they still play in the AFC South, when Peyton played in the AFC South. That's what it reminds me of. Just complete dominance of that division. Sunday Night Football, the Raiders got destroyed. Oh, that was a crack. I sound like Bill Burr. But yeah, the Raiders got destroyed by the Redskins, 27-10. Michael Crabtree, evidently, him and Amani Cooper said something about, they were going to come out and, rip up the defensive backs, and they did not. Josh Norman had something to say about that. So they got to play better, man. They got to play better, especially with the first 2 weeks, everybody talking about, the Raiders is going to run through the AFC. Nope. And I like the Redskins, man. This is the first game that Kirk Cousins actually showed up. Kirk Cousins was playing like a grown man. Did you see the pass he gave to Vernon Davis? And Vernon Davis broke that dude's ankles. It was ridiculous. And on the ground, tell you the truth, this Chris Thompson dude is a touchdown machine for Washington. I don't know where it came from, but the last 3 weeks that I've done DraftKings and I put Chris Thompson on my team, he's gotten me points. So if you're into gambling, pick up Chris Thompson. He gets into the end zone. All right, Jordan Reed, get your body together. Last 2 years, it was, I got concussion. This year, my chest, get it together. Stop getting so goddamn hurt. Ask God to give you some durability when you go to sleep at night. Okay, God, Allah, Confucius, Kanye West, whatever God you worship. Monday Night Football, Cowboys played against the Cardinals, 28-17. Cowboys looked all right. Dez, you got into the end zone, but outside of that, you didn't really do anything all day. Ezekiel Elliott, you looked good, 83 yards on the ground, into the end zone. Dak looked all right. I'm not going to sing his praises. If anything, it was the Dallas defense that won them that game. I can't tell you how many sacks they got on Carson Palmer, or how many sacks they should have had, because they were getting pressure all day. All day. You would have thought you was in the hospital and they were holding blood, the amount of pressure that they gave to the damn Cardinals offensive line. It was ridiculous. It was like you're in a laundromat sale, because there was nothing but sacks. It was ridiculous the way they were playing. Defensive line, that Lawrence dude, what was his name? DeMarcus Lawrence. Holy smokes. It seems like DeMarcus is on the Cowboys. On the defensive line, they killed DeMarcus Ware right into DeMarcus Lawrence. If your name's DeMarcus, head down to Dallas, get large, or whatever size you might have been. If your name's DeMarcus, you can succeed in Cowboy Stadium or anywhere, as long as you have the Cowboy jersey on. All right. As for the Cardinals, Larry Fitzgerald is Larry Legend. This man has no business retiring at this point. I kind of want to see him get more receptions than Jerry Rice. I think he could pull it off. That would be awesome to see, because he slipped himself into the top 5 greatest receivers of all time. Sorry, Don Hudson. I think I got to take you out now. I apologize. You killed it in the 30s with the Packers, but you got to go, buddy. Larry Fitz slipping his way in there. But that has been last week's scores, and I'll give you my preview for this upcoming week, or I should say my predictions. Bears taking on the Packers. Thursday Night Football. They're playing in Lambeau. The Packers defense is caca, doo-doo. They're terrible through the air. But the problem is the Bears don't have a passing attack. And Mike McCarthy has his teams, prepared. Although they did give up a lot of yards to Devontae Freeman, the Atlanta has a balanced attack. The Bears, they do not. And defensively, they played well against the Pittsburgh Steelers, but that's more on the Pittsburgh Steelers not performing than, on the Bears defense locking them up. So, yeah, I'm going to go Packers on this one. But it's not going to be a runaway game. I don't think it's going to be a runaway game. I think they only win by 10 points. I'm going to go with 35-24 Packers. The Saints taking on the Dolphins. I'm not going to give you a score for this game. It's in Miami, though. So the Saints are on the road. It's in Miami. Because the Saints are on the road and that defense is still that defense, I'm going with the Dolphins here. I think Jarvis Landry is going to have a big day. Oh, might I add, Jay Ajayi's going to be running. Tennessee taking on the Texans in Houston. I am rolling with... that's tough, man, because they did give up 36 points to the Patriots, but that's the Patriots. And that was through the air, but Tennessee doesn't have the receivers that the Patriots have. So you know what? I'm going with the Texans here, man. I think Lamar Miller might be able to make his presence felt on the ground, open it up for Deshaun Watson to get the ball out to DeAndre Hopkins. So yeah, I'm gonna roll with the Texans. Jaguars taking on the Jets. I'm going with the Jaguars. Although they are on the road and they can let you down, I'm not singing their high praises because of what they did last week. Is just on the fact that the Jets do not really have an identity on either side of the ball. So I'm going to go with Jacksonville on this one. The Panthers taking on the Patriots, and the Patriots are at home. Upset alert. I'm going with the goddamn Panthers. Yup, I said it. I'm going with the Panthers. Cam Newton did it before. He's going to do it again. I'm going with the Panthers. Upset alert. They beat the Patriots. Tom Brady does have himself a day, but I think he's going to throw a pick or maybe two. The Lions taking on the Vikings, but they're in Minnesota. For some apparent reason, when they play in Minnesota, Stephon Diggs shows up, and he shows up big time. But it depends on if Case Keenum is the starting quarterback. Because if he's not, and it's Bradford who comes back, I don't know why. I just think, if it's Bradford, they win. If it's not, and it's Case Keenum, he's not going to replicate the exact same success he did last week. Okay? Lions win this game, and I think what's going to get them the W is going to be a bunch of checkdowns to Theo Reddick, checkdowns to Abdullah. That's what's going to win them the game. Stafford's going to win them that game. Bills taking on the Falcons. They're in Atlanta. Come on now. The Bills do not play good on the road. Atlanta plays phenomenal at home. Atlanta gets this game. But it's not going to be a big time. I think they win by a field goal. I think Matt Bryan, the old man, kicks it through. Ravens playing against the Steelers. I'm going to get to that later. At Baltimore, I might add, in M&T Bank Stadium. We had the Browns taking on the Bengals in a game that both teams must win, and neither team can afford to lose, as Paul Heyman would say. I'm going with Cleveland. Cleveland wins this game. And Marvin Lewis, pack your bags, because it's time for you to go home to your family, because you're getting fired. Cowboys taking on the Rams. Woo! This Rams defensive line ain't nothing to play with. They playing in Dallas. But offensively, can the Rams do what they did last week? This Cowboys defense ain't that serious. But that defensive line of the Cowboys and Lawrence, man, whoo! I think this is going to be a low-scoring game. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game, but Ezekiel Elliott's going to take over the game. I don't think it's going to be a lot of passing yards through the air. Dak's not going to win the game. Ezekiel Elliott's going to have to win the game, and I think that he does. 21-17 Cowboys. Eagles taking on the Chargers. I'm rolling with the Eagles on the road because the Chargers can't seem to close. So I'm rolling with the Eagles. Unfortunately, the Chargers, they're dropping to 0-4. Buccaneers taking on the Giants. The Buccaneers are at home. I think the Bucs can win this game. And I'll explain to you why. Janoris Jenkins, we're not sure if he's back on the field or not. Okay, he did get a little bit dinged up. Still is a little bit dinged up. I think Mike Evans going to have himself a big game. If not, Deshaun Jackson always plays good against the Giants. Get the ball to D-Jax, you win the game. Odell Beckham, Brent Grimes is going to be seeing you all goddamn day. Buccaneers win this game. 49ers taking on the Cardinals. Cardinals win the game. Larry Legend has another big game. Chris Johnson, big game on the ground. I'm rolling with the Cardinals. Broncos taking on Raiders, but they're playing at home. The Broncos are at home. Aqib Talib plays big time at home. Michael Crabtree is going to be across Aqib Talib. Last time they saw each other, he took the man chain. So I am rolling with the Broncos to win this game. Only way the Raiders win this game, I think they got to win it on the ground, not through the air. Win it on the ground. Colts taking on the Seahawks. Seahawks, I got them winning at home. Monday Night Football, Chiefs taking on the Redskins. I think the Redskins get the W in Arrowhead. I think they're going to get the W, man. I like Thompson. I like the way that he plays. He seems to be sniffing for the end zone. And if Jordan Reed is healthy, I don't think the Chiefs are going to be able to stop him, man. Now, talk about Pittsburgh and Baltimore. This game is always a slugfest. It's being played in Baltimore, and Baltimore plays better at home. However, they got too many injuries. It comes down to defense on this one. If the secondary for the Pittsburgh Steelers show up, Pittsburgh wins. They win. That's all that has to happen. However, if they do not, Baltimore wins. That's it. Baltimore defense is going to be there. It's going to be there. But Pittsburgh knows how to play against their defense. That's why I'm not going to say anything else. It's really predicated on the secondary of the Steelers. The secondary of the Steelers shows up, Pittsburgh wins. They don't show up, Pittsburgh loses. That's all that it is. Baltimore doesn't really have a big-time running game. What is it, Terrence West? I hand it off to you. He's not doing anything serious, although he did run for like 100 yards against the Pittsburgh Steelers defense last week. And I do think that is a factor. I don't know why I just said it was Steelers pass attack. Let me do pretty much like what they say on the the pregame. It's the keys to victory is the Steelers secondary, and for Baltimore, it's their run game. That's pretty much it. Because if you can't establish the run for Joe Flacco and you're going to force him to win the game, he's not going to win you the game. But outside of that, those are my picks for this upcoming week. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. So we're getting ready for week 4, and look out for the commentary for the Thursday night football game, depending on what the highlights are. Because if it's a snooze fest, I'm not really going to do anything for it. Probably take like 1 or 2 highlights, throw it in there. But let me know what you guys think about these upcoming games. Who you think is going to win? Who you think is going to lose? Possible. I think probably by week 8, I'll start to give who I think is going to win divisions or go to the Super Bowl, wild card team, stuff like that. But yeah, this has been your Intellectual Jackass podcast for week 3 of the NFL. Week 3 going into week 4, whatever. I can't remember how the hell I want to word it, but I am your host, your humble host, the diligent, vigilant, meticulous, sagacious, conscientious, analytical, methodical individual. I am the Chiseled Adonis, and I'm signing out.